With cases of COVID-19 spiking again in several states, a lot of people want to know if they could be immune to the infection. So they are paying for antibody tests. Hundreds of these hit the market in just months, but are they accurate? CBS 2 investigator Dorothy Tucker tested the test.
Headache, chest congestion, chest pain.
It felt like COVID-19.
Sometimes having chills at nighttime.
Mark Thomas and his wife got sick in February after a trip to the AME church in Montgomery, Alabama, where they had gathered with 100 people.
Just overall tiredness.
After a few days, the symptoms went away, but the nagging question didn't. Did they have the virus?
We don't know. So we wanted to get a test just to make sure and rule out that we had COVID-19.
Since they hadn't taken a nasal swab like these, they decided to get an antibody test, which they hoped would tell them they were immune to the virus and protected from reinfection.
I wanted to see, right, how I should proceed with my life going forward.
And what were the results?
Results were negative. There was no presence in my system of COVID-19 and that I did not have the antibody.
Were you surprised?
Very surprised. I thought for a fact that I had COVID-19. Absolutely. So I am still very skeptical of this test.
Thomas is among those who have raised questions about the accuracy of antibody tests, which is why we decided to test the test. Only 22 have been given temporary emergency approval by the FDA, the Federal Food and Drug Administration. That's out of some 250 that have been on the market. We chose 3 based on cost and how long it would take to deliver results.
I was sick about the middle of March.
Investigative producer Michelle Youngerman led our investigation. She had some of the symptoms of COVID-19.
I had a cough, I had a fever, I lost my sense of smell, the chills.
First test, May 19th at the In-Out Labs in Morton Grove. Cost, $225. Name of the test, Vibrant. Results, negative for a recent infection, negative for an older infection. No antibodies. A week later, the Arc Point in Schaumburg, cost $75. Test, Hangzhou's rapid finger prick. Results, positive for a recent infection, negative for an older one, and positive for antibodies. Remember, just a week before, Youngerman had tested negative for everything.
Could I have caught COVID in that 1-week period?
To make sure she hadn't, that same day, Youngerman went to a drive-through testing site and took a throat swab in case she had a current infection. She didn't. Third location, Northwestern, June 15th. Cost, covered by insurance. Test, Abbott Architect. Results, negative for a recent infection, positive for an older one. Yes to antibodies. So the results are mixed. At this point, we're scratching our heads. So we turn to Dr. Philip Norris, an infectious disease expert from San Francisco, California.
So we have to take each of these results with some precaution.
Especially the 2 positives, he says. The Abbott test was the only one that revealed the level of antibodies in the blood. In the producer's case, the levels were low, leading Norris to conclude this about the Abbott test.
I think most likely that's a false positive.
Norris also questioned the results of the Hangzhou rapid finger prick test.
The trouble with rapid tests is they tend to have higher backgrounds, so you're more likely to get a false positive.
Higher background, meaning the test can pick up antibodies from other coronaviruses that are already in your body, like the common cold. That leaves the Vibrant, which was negative. Was it correct?
Well, you're asking me, is this a positive or negative? Was Michelle infected or not? And the answer is maybe.
Maybe?
That's not what anybody wants to hear when they spend all that money.
And I do think it is buyer beware.
The vast majority are junk tests.
To say that Congressman Raji Krishnamurthy has an issue with antibody tests is an understatement.
The FDA kind of allowed a wild west to flourish where bad actors and bad products were flooding the market.
He has a congressional subcommittee that investigated the test.
Dozens have been pulled from the market.
46 to be exact, in just 3 months.
You could be talking about millions of people who took those tests.
Youngerman was one of them. In fact, just 1 week after she took the Hangzhou rapid finger prick test, the FDA said it should no longer be used because it's not accurate. But no one ever contacted Youngerman and told her the positive result was unreliable.
So what do you say to those people who may have taken a test that has since been pulled from the market?
In my opinion, what should happen is that the FDA should notify all those who had taken these tests that those tests have been pulled from the market. I believe that those people deserve their money back. Obviously, we have to put these companies out of business, at least with regard to their tests.
The problem, says Krishnamurthy, those getting a false positive may have a false sense of protection from getting infected.
They might be in states and places where they're spreading the infection.
That leads Thomas to one conclusion.
There's no guarantee that the test is accurate or not. And you may think that you have a sense of relief, that you can go out and be open and free, but in reality, you could be passing on this contagious disease to another person.
Here's the bottom line. Test or no test, you still need to follow safety guidelines. Wear a mask and social distance, because even the most accurate test will not tell you if you are immune and protected from reinfection. That is still being studied. Dorothy Tucker, CBS 2 Investigators.